It's taken me long enough, but here I am. Welcome to the channel, and today we're going to kick things off with a really casual Q&A. If you have any other questions that you want answered, please leave them in the comments below. I'm also really interested in what type of content you guys want to see from me on this channel. I do have an abundance of ideas and a very long Notion list of videos that I really want to make. This is going to be a very creative space for me and I'm really excited about it, but I also want it to be really valuable to you, and I'm really hoping to build the kind of channel that I wish I'd had access to in the early days of my design career. So if there is anything you are struggling with, anything that you really wish somebody would just make a video on, please let me know in the comments below. I really am actually interested in making this something that's also valuable for you, and I'm hoping to put it all here for you guys to have access to. Because I know that a lot of my learning happened right here on YouTube, and I definitely wouldn't be where I am without it. So without further ado, let's get into the questions. The very first question is, why don't you start a YouTube channel? Well, the short answer is I just have not had the time, and it's been something that has always been on my heart since Flux Academy, and since joining them and creating videos for that channel. I really fell in love with the process of making videos and sharing long form content, but it was something that requires and still does require a huge amount of time that I chose to invest into my studio rather and invest into my career as a designer. I am still very much in love with my role as a designer and have no goal of leaving that role anytime soon. So that is still a huge priority for me and something that I definitely won't be giving up anytime soon. I've been working over the last year to make some serious changes to how I do things so that I can actually make content and hopefully do it regularly. So if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. Question number 2, would my career have been any different had I learned what I know online versus going to design college? So for those of you who don't know, I actually went to an official design college in Cape Town, South Africa, and I must say, despite the fact that I am of the absolute belief that you don't learn anything about the real world until you're in it, I think what official education gave me, at least the education that I had and at the school that I went to, it taught me how to do the basics right. And I think this is something that we tend to forget a lot in the creative industry, is that even though creativity is subjective, the art of design is still rooted in, well, theory, and it's still rooted in technique, which needs time and training to really hone in on. When you know the rules really well, you are better at breaking them effectively and efficiently, and I think without that foundation, I don't think I would have been at the skill level that I was when I left school. And it really made it a lot easier for me to go in and do the work well. And I think a lot of the time, you know, we get hung up on process and we talk about how to serve clients, but we forget that at the end of the day, it's about doing the work really well and about being able to actually deliver. However, if I had done my online learning, if I had started my career that way, I think it would have taken me a little longer to get the basics right, because being who I am, I probably would have jumped the gun and I would have jumped ahead and I would have tried to make things a bit more complicated than what they needed to be. And for me personally, as a creative person, as somebody who likes to move quite quickly, I don't want to sit and learn the basics. And so what school gave me was it forced me to slow down, and it forced me to do 3 long years of practicing those basics, and it was rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So if I can give anybody any advice, if you don't have access to tertiary education or it's not something you want to do and you're going to start with your education online, do the basics right first. Take a course in basic graphic design fundamentals, take those layout courses, learn about typography. It's going to be so boring at first, but it's going to be worth it because it's going to make you a better technical designer, which is then going to make you more able to, in the years coming, focus on your processes, hone in your systems, and just be a better service provider. That foundation is what made me a better business owner and a better service provider overall. Okay, leading on for that is another question that I get a lot is, how do I build confidence as a creative? How do you come to grips with not knowing stuff? How do you learn how to put yourself out there and get in front of clients, talk to clients, lead clients? The short version of this answer is you just have to do it scared. And it's so cliched, but you have to just get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think this process doesn't ever end. And I come across things I don't know how to do. I come across client situations which I've never dealt with before. And I think that confidence is something that unfortunately or fortunately grows with time. I think we have confidence when we believe we're capable and when we believe we are competent at something. And so confidence can be grown, and confidence can also be forced to a certain extent, because if you're not confident in something, then that means there's a gap between where you are and where you believe you should be. And so to close that gap, sometimes it's as simple as educating yourself. Sometimes it's as simple as buying a course or a product or doing some YouTube learning or spending hours and hours and hours on the internet at all hours of the evening learning and closing that knowledge gap so that you get to a place where you go, you know what, I actually feel competent. I feel capable of doing this thing. And I did a lot of that in my early career. I spent a ridiculous, irrational number of hours on YouTube, online, on the internet. I wasn't in a financial place to be able to spend money on courses or resources. I had to use what I could find for free. I honestly think confidence is one of those things that you can sort of fake it till you make it, but I think real confidence comes with developing self-belief, and it comes with understanding that, you know, I can have confidence in one thing and a total lack of confidence in another thing, and that's just because in that one thing I have a huge amount of self-belief that I'll be able to handle it, that I can take anything on, and I know my space, I know my topic, I know my subject really well. And so if somebody asks me something, I pretty much know I'm going to be able to give them some kind of answer. Whereas if you ask me anything about rock climbing, I'm going to look at you and blink for a very long time. I don't know anything about it, so I'm going to feel a lack of confidence there. In my early career, all I did was dedicate a lot of time to learning and to constantly focusing on improving where I was and taking on feedback. Another great question that I get a lot is, in the creative process, once you create something and you've spent a significant amount of time on it and then you end up not liking it, but you've got a deadline and you need to deliver this thing to this client like 9 a.m. tomorrow and it's currently 11 p.m., what the hell do you do? I think it's important to understand that as a creative, this is going to happen to you countless times. I can't tell you that as an expert or as somebody who is 10 years deep into their career that this does not happen to you. I think it happens less because you get better at managing your creativity, but this happens all the time. And I have often gone to clients and gone, you know what? I've developed a couple of solutions for you, but I'm not happy. And I'd really love an extra day to really refine these concepts. I think that approach shows that you've dedicated the time and energy to solving the problem. You are not 100% happy with the result, which also makes you look like the expert, by the way. And then being able to be forthright and open with your customer or client and go to them and say, I'm not happy with this solution. I'd really like some more time to work on it. Give me another day. This doesn't mean that you take a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or you just disappear and ghost your client, or you leave things to the last minute and then come use that as an excuse. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Please don't do that. That's a dick move. But in terms of handling that creative process, you must be open with your clients always. Before that happens though, the step that you can do to manage that process before you even get to that point is making sure that you are building in enough time for yourself in the process. Don't get yourself caught up on these other designers that are delivering projects in 3 or 4 weeks. If you need 6 weeks, you need 6 weeks. That is just what you need right now. And if you get to the place where you can do it quicker, amazing. Fine. So you want to make sure that you're booking in at least 3 to 5 days of buffer zone into your creative process. And if you need to build 3 days into every single phase of the project, do that. Because you would rather deliver something early to a client than continuously having to push the deadlines. You also want to pay attention to the type of client you've got. If it's somebody who's on a really tight deadline and you've promised to deliver them something, then guess what, babes? You're working all night. Yay. Been there, done that. It happens. It's just part of the process. Another awesome question that I get a lot is how many projects do you juggle at any given time? And this really depends. When I was working just as myself, as in I was doing everything for my studio, I was wearing all the hats, I did all the accounting, I did all the project management, I did everything, which I think a lot of you are currently doing. When you are in this situation, you have to take on less work. It is just a factor of life. At any given time, I need to be working on maybe 2 or 3 brand identity projects, and then maybe 2 to 3 to 4 websites at a time. That is about as far as I can stretch my brain. And if you're the only one in your business and you are trying to juggle timelines, admin, emails, all of that stuff all at once, it is virtually impossible for you to be working on that many projects at once. You're going to burn out and you're going to lose your mind. What I would recommend is you want to get to a place where at first, while you're working out your systems, you want to go for 3 or 4 clients at a time. You want to really get that rhythm going, and you want to really understand your process really well. As you get better and as you get fitter, and as you optimize your systems and you come up with automation processes which really help you sort of speed up maybe the admin side of your business or the project management side of your business, that then you can start taking on more clients. The ultimate goal is obviously to charge more and take on less, but that's not always realistic in the beginning. Okay, so this next set of questions is going to be a little bit about project management tools and stuff like that. First of all, what project management tool did I use? I have always been a diehard Asana fan. I have tried tools like Notion, and I adore Notion, and I use it for so many things, just not project management. Why don't I use Notion for project management? Because my clients hated it. It's that simple. Asana has always stuck really well for me and my clients, and actually me and my business partner use Asana now to manage our clients in our business, and we use it to manage our internal processes and systems as well. I mean, we have boards for everything. We find is that our clients don't want to spend hours and hours on our project management tool. They want to jump in, they want to check what they need to do, and they want to get out. And we just really love how Asana is built in that way, and helps us manage timelines and keep track on everything that we're working on at any given time. And I have now used Asana, I think literally from about month 4 in my business. And if you want to see inside my Asana process, I have a link in the description below to a training that I did. It's an hour long on setting up a project board to manage a client in Asana from start to finish. So if you're interested in how I do that, then you can check that out. It's currently 30% off. Oh, good morning. Hi. Say hi. The last question that I want to tackle today is about my process. Now, I get this question a lot. What does my brand identity process look like from start to finish? What does my web design process look like from start to finish? Now, this is definitely something that can be tackled in a longer video, so let me know if you want to see that down below. How did I come up with my process? Well, the short answer is I didn't have one to start off with. I knew all that I knew from college, which was literally how to develop a logo. I didn't understand how to onboard a client, how to take them through the steps, and I had to learn that the hard way. And I learned it through practice, basically by taking on clients, figuring out that they were stuck at this point or didn't know what to do at this point. And so I had to kind of figure out the process as I went along. About a year in, I realized that I was floundering in deep water and sort of had it, but sort of didn't. I started to look for information on process and what it looked like to take a client from start to finish during a project, and YouTube was my best friend in that sense. It really showed me everything I needed to know. I got to watch little behind the scenes of what other people were doing, and I got to try those processes on inside my business. I kept what worked and I just left the rest out. Every time I took on a new client, I adapted my process. I streamlined certain things, I dropped stuff, I added things, and I just learned along the way. I came up with this little habit where at the end of every project, I'd literally sit down with a journal and I'd go, okay, what worked really well in that project and what sucked? And then everything that sucked, I deleted from my process and made changes. I mean, I cannot tell you how many platforms I tried, how many different systems I tried, how many different brand strategies I tried, how many different PDF workbooks I created, how many different questionnaires I created. I just kept trying and I just kept changing things until I got to a process where I was like, this works. I enjoy this. I can rinse and repeat this. I really like it. It's working for me. It seems to be working for my clients. And there we go. But to this day, inside my new studio now with my business partner, we are constantly innovating and we are constantly refining and tweaking and making sure that we are constantly working to make the process not only easier for ourselves, but for our clients as well. It's really a learning process, and it's a process of constant optimization and a constant process of trying on what works, leaving the rest, and just figuring it out. You're a different designer to everyone else out there. Your clients are going to be different, and your relationship and dynamic between you and that client is going to be unique every single time. So there's never going to be one size fits all, as much as I wish there was. There just isn't a one size fits all. You have to develop your own style and your own process. And that's really the art of being a creative business owner, is you have the freedom to do that. Oh, now this silly cloth is in the background of my video this whole time. Alright, that is it for this video. Thank you if you have watched all the way to the end. I really hope that you got something useful out of this. Let me know in the comments below what videos you guys want to see from me. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I really want to make this channel something that is useful and that is actually going to inspire you and make you feel like you've got a friend somewhere around the world. And I really want this channel to be something that I wished that I had in those early years. And even nowadays, when I'm looking for a bit of extra inspiration further on in my career. So let me know if there's any topics that you want me to chat about with regards to project management, client management, brand identity, web design, anything in the freelancing space. And nothing is off limits in that sense, so please let me know. Otherwise, you can find me on Instagram. All the details will be in the description, and you can DM me there too. I'm fairly active and fairly responsive. Sometimes I miss a question, but I'm usually quick to respond there, and happy to chat to you guys always. So thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.